doing 10 freezer meals. I absolutely love doing freezer meals. They are such a blessing to me because life is just crazy and I don't always want to be cooking. I'm not always wanting to be in the kitchen, and sometimes, like especially on the weekends, we are here and there, we're everywhere, and it's just hard to get meals on the table, and we don't want to go out to eat because it is like so expensive with 4 kids. I don't know if you guys have gone out to eat before, but it is terribly expensive, especially with kids. So I'm going to be doing 10 freezer meals. Hopefully they will be a blessing to you. They're mainly going to be like casseroles. A lot of them will be like marinating chicken and just prepping things and getting things ready to go. So it's super easy to just pop it in the oven or put it in the crock pot, put it in the Instapot. So hopefully these will all be absolutely delicious. I am sure they're going to be super convenient for you guys. There are so many times where I will give meals to people. I will give meals to people that are having to moms who are getting ready to have a baby or have just had a baby or just different stuff like that. So these will be a super added extra blessing to you and to your family. So go ahead and grab your apron and let's get cooking. Okay, this is everything that I'm going to need for this freezer meal prep. So, oh my word, this is so much stuff. I'm planning on making 10 different types of dinners here. So this is everything that we will need. This is the only thing that's not thawed, so I'll be making this last. I'm probably going to be doing half today and half tomorrow. It'll all be in one video that you'll see here, but I don't think I can do all of it in one day, but we will see how far I can go today. So I think I have about 6 pounds of ground beef, just some canned goods, some corn, some black beans, evaporated milk, tomato soup, Rotels. Y'all, Rotels is like $1.10. It's ridiculous. I'm not paying $1.10 for some tomatoes and green chilies. Crazy. Got some eggs, got some seasonings over here. I'll probably use more like just your basic seasonings, garlic powder, garlic salt, onion powder, just some stuff like that. Tortillas, here's some chicken. We have chicken thighs and chicken breast on the bottom. Some rotini noodles. Let's see here. I got some hash browns, some tater tots, just some different types of frozen vegetables here, some potatoes. In the back here, this is some rice, milk, heavy whipping cream. This is from my garden. I will be using this in just one recipe. And then I have some more sweet bell peppers, some onions, and then some cheeses. So, and then I will have to shred this. Oh my goodness, that's gonna take forever. I don't know why I bought it. It was just cheaper, so I bought it in this big old thing, but somebody has to shred that, so not sure what I was thinking. So what I'm gonna do first, let me flip it around here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm basically just going to start like cutting my peppers, my onions, and just basically get everything ready for everything. So that's what I'm doing first. You'll kind of see me cutting some onions. Cutting onions, cutting the peppers, getting the cheese ready, just different stuff like that, just so it'll make it all easier. I'm probably going to be cooking all my chicken at once, all my beef at once. That'll just make the process go smoother. The one thing that I love about stuff like this and making things in a big batch is that it'll actually, in the end run, it'll actually be less time because you're doing everything in bulk. So I love doing stuff like this. I don't get to do it very often, but I absolutely love doing it. So hopefully everything will go smoothly and I can get this all done. I'm hoping for a day. It'll probably be a day or two that I can get all 10 meals made. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully everything turns out right, and I will show you my all my casserole things. I'll be putting, if you can kind of see that. So I'll be putting in this. That'll be for all my casseroles, and then I have some Ziploc baggies that I'll be using for some of the like chicken, like the marinades that I'll be doing. And that's pretty much all that I'll need. So all right, so let's get started. For all these meals today, I will be prepping 3 onions, and then I have like a little bag of sweet bell peppers that I'll be prepping as well. So I'm going to just chop up 2 onions, and I like to use this food processor. It really does not matter what the onions look like as long as they get chopped pretty finely. And then I am just going to, I kind of have to do 2 different batches because I just have this little tiny food processor. And then after I'm done chopping up these 2 onions, I'm just going to put it in a bowl, and then I'll put it in the fridge to get away from my eyes because my eyes are on fire at this moment. And then with that last onion, I'm actually going to slice it up because those are going to be for my fajitas, and I think I just need it for my chicken and beef fajitas. So I'm just going to slice those up. For this bowl here, I'm just going to put some saran wrap on, and I'm just going to toss this in the fridge for now, and then I'll get started on that last onion. If your eyes are not like a big water pool after this, then you're not doing it right. Or I need to know what you do. I've heard that you can use like onion goggles. I don't even know where to find that, but that would be amazing because I can't even see. I try to do the onions as fast as I can and put some saran wrap and put it in the fridge because I literally can't see. The only thing that helps me is like washing my hands. But yeah, look at this. I can't do it. I hate onions so much. But they're so flavorful, so I love them in my foods, but oh my word. I'm always so tempted just to buy the freezer ones because I just hate cutting them so much. Anyways, let's get back to it. Okay, for this last onion, I just sliced this up as fine as I possibly could. And then I just put this in like a small Ziploc baggie, and then I put it in the refrigerator for now because I'll use it later. And then I have this whole bag of sweet bell peppers, and you don't see it, but as I and taking them out, I wash them, and then I'm just slicing these up. These ones I'm just slicing because these are going to be for my fajitas. So I don't know, I think I slice up maybe about 10 of them, and then the rest I'm going to end up chopping because I'm going to need about a whole cup of chopped bell peppers. So that's what you see here. If you have green bell peppers, that's going to work fine. Any type of pepper that you want to use for this recipe, you can go ahead and use it. I think for fajitas, I think I've used any type of bell peppers. It's just this is what I had on hand, and I wanted to go ahead and use this whole bag. That way I'm not wasting anything and things aren't going bad in my fridge. Next, I'm going to get this prepared. You guys can just use shredded cheese if you have that on hand. I bought this from Sam's. It was kind of stupid of me to buy such a big block and shred it. I really don't like shredding it, but I know it was a better price, so that's why I went ahead and bought it. And I actually do prefer fresh shredded cheese just because they don't have like that processed powdery stuff on it. And once I have all of that shredded, I'm going to need about, I don't know, 6 cups of shredded cheese, I believe, all together. So that's why I went ahead and used that huge block. And this is just 3 pounds of ground beef that I'm going to ground up all at one time. I just think it's so much easier just to kind of do it all at once. You know, it just makes life so much easier. It saves you time when you're doing this in bulk. So I'm just using my, I don't know, meat masher, however you want to say it, and I'm grounding that up. And then while that's getting all ground, I did go ahead and boil some potatoes because I'm going to need that for my shepherd's pie. So now that that's done, I'm just going to drain it and make some mashed potatoes out of that. And here I have 4 pans, but I'm just going to use 2 at this moment, and I'm just going to put a third of the meat in one pan, a third of the meat in another pan, and then the rest of the meat is going to stay in that pan because I'm going to make cowboy casserole out of that. So here you'll see me just plating that up, making everything as even as I possibly can. And I'm going to show you how to make shepherd's pie first out of one of these pans. So first you're going to need, I'm going to get everything out of the way here, and I'm just going to use up the one pan. And I'm going to put about a cup of mixed frozen vegetables. If you want to use a can, that's totally fine too. And then I have 1 can of green beans that I'm going to toss in there, and 2 cans of tomato soup. Make sure it's soup and not like paste or sauce or anything like that. And then I kind of just mix that to combine it. You could add salt and pepper to this as well. And the one thing about these pans is that they're not very deep at all. So I'm used to making this meal and maybe having like a deeper dish. So I would definitely suggest you guys getting the deeper casserole dishes if you're going to put them in the freezer. And because I'm going to put in my mashed potatoes, I usually like 2 to 3 cups of mashed potatoes in my shepherd's pie, but you'll see in a little bit that it kind of gets overflowing after I make all the mashed potatoes. For these mashed potatoes, I like to put in either heavy whipping cream or half and half, in with like half a stick of butter, and I just kind of mix it in with some salt and pepper and make sure it's nice and creamy. I have heard that if you put in melted butter, that makes it even more fluffy instead of just putting in the whole stick of butter. Whatever reason that makes it more fluffy, I don't know. I haven't tried that process yet. I just recently heard of that. So I'm just going to put in my mashed potatoes as even as I possibly can, and then I'm just going to dump some shredded cheese on top of that, just to get it nice and even. But as you'll see, it's just so full, so I have a hard time getting the pan closed because it is so full. So definitely don't overfill this, especially since it's going in the freezer. You don't want like the juices to, or it to spill over into your freezer. When this is all done, I am going to put on here that it's shepherd's pie. This, once it's in the freezer, you can thaw it out and then cook it in the oven at 350 for about 45 minutes, or you could just place this straight in the oven for about 3 to 4 hours just until it's nice and cooked through. I just put on here shepherd's pie. I know how long, so I don't usually like label it. I only label things if I'm not sure on the directions. I don't want to have to go and look it up later. But I've made shepherd's pie for the last, I don't even know, 12 years or so. It's a family recipe, so I'm pretty sure I know how to make it. Next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making this stuffed, what is this called? Stuffed pepper casserole. This is the first time I have made it, and it looks so good. I'm so excited to try it. I'm going to just saute these bell peppers that we chopped up earlier, and then I'm going to take in about a half a cup of onions and saute that up as well, and just make sure everything's nice and tender. And then once everything is good and cooked through, we're going to take another one of those pans that we put hamburger beef in, and I'm going to put in 1 can of diced tomatoes, and then I have 3/4 a teaspoon of oregano, and then we'll put in 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, and we'll put in some pepper as well. I believe we put in about 1/4 a teaspoon of pepper. And then we're just going to give that a good stir and get that nice and even here. And then we're going to add in our rice and peppers. And so that's about a cup of peppers here. And then we're going to add in 3 cups of cooked rice. Make sure that it's 3 cups of cooked and not just 3 cups of rice. I don't know. It does need to be cooked. So I'm just going to go ahead and give that another good stir. And then we're just going to put cheese on top. And that's it. And this I am so excited about making. I really hope that that turns out really well. I have really high hopes for it. So I'm super excited about it. Once this has thawed, I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 for 45 minutes, just until the cheese is nice and cheesy and everything is cooked through. Okay, next I'm going to be making this cowboy casserole, and I do double this recipe. It's just easier because one recipe calls for half a pound of ground beef, and so I just find it so much easier just to double this recipe, and it will make 2 casseroles. I just hate like putting half of a pound of ground beef back into the freezer. I just do not like doing that, and it'll end up getting forgotten, and there's not a lot of meals that I make that call for half. Here is 1 pound of ground beef, and then I put in about a cup of onions, and then I'm putting in all my spices, all my seasonings. If you want the full recipe, it will be linked in the description box. And then I'm just going to go ahead and give this a good stir. And then I'm going to add in some of rotels. I'm going to add in black beans. I'm going to add in corn. I have 2 cans of corn, about a can of black beans, 1 can of rotels, and that I'm just going to add to this meal. And when you put in the rotels, you just kind of want to let that cook for just a little bit, just to let all the juices kind of drain down, and so it's not so runny. Once that's drained down, we're going to go ahead and add in 2 cans of cream and mushroom soup, and we're going to go ahead and give that a good stir until that's good and mixed through. And then we will add in our sour cream and milk after that and give that another good stir. Okay, so now we're going to add in our 2 cans of corn that I was talking about earlier, and then I had 1 can of black beans that I did go ahead and rinse off and get all of the excess stuff off of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and give that another good stir. And if you don't want to add black beans and you want to add like black olives, anything like that, that is completely optional. I love black beans, corn, and rotel. I love that mixture, and with some Mexican dishes, it is so, so delicious. And then here I have about 2 cups of shredded cheese, and I'm only going to use half of it in this pan, and the other half I'm going to put on top after we put in our casserole. And then I have this, this is not the smaller one, this is like the 8-ounce can of green chilies that we're just going to add and stir in. And that is it. After everything is cooked through and it's starting to bubble on top, I'm going to transfer this to my casserole dishes and just place them in the casseroles into the pans, and then place some cheese on top, and that's it. That's all we need to do for this cowboy casserole. Forgot the most important ingredient is tater tots. I like using these little circle rounds. I don't even know what you call them. I think they're called potato crowns, but I prefer them. I think they're, I don't know what it is, but I just love using them instead of like the tater tots. So I'm using these. I only have 1 bag, so I'm going to go ahead and use most of this. Usually what I do is 1 bag per casserole, but like I said before, I don't have deep dishes, so I can't put as many tater tots as I would normally. So I have like a bag and a half that I'm going to go ahead and use up here and just kind of spread it out. And then I'm going to put my cheese on top, and that's it. It's going to cook at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. If you're putting these straight from the freezer to the oven, it's going to be about 3 hours, just until everything's cooked through. If you are wanting to spice this up a notch, you can add in some, like a can of diced jalapenos, or you can add in some jalapenos, some chili powder, some cayenne pepper, and oh my word, this gets very, very spicy, but it is so, so good. I highly recommend adding in some like diced jalapenos, because that adds so much flavor and it is so, so delicious. We did that once and our mouths were on fire, but it was so, so good. The next thing that I'm going to be making is some beef fajitas. So I'm just going to open this package, and it's kind of been in the freezer for a little while. So I'm kind of trusting that they are still good. They seem like they'll be good. So, you know, we're just going to shoot for the best on that one. So I'm just going to cut all of this meat, and I'm just going to kind of cut against the grain. And I'm going to do that for all of this meat here. And then I'm just kind of put it in a bowl, and then we're going to put it in a Ziploc baggie. We're going to put in some taco seasoning. Now, if you have like a fajita seasoning, that would be even better. I didn't really have anything like that, so I just use this taco seasoning, and I'm just going to put a little bit at the bottom. I'm going to put a little beef at the bottom with some taco seasoning, and then again some more taco seasoning on top. And I'm just going to give that a good mix so all the taco seasoning gets all over that beef. And then I'm going to add in those peppers that we had prepped before. That's about a cup of peppers there. And I'm going to use up half of this sliced onion and just kind of put those all in there. I'm going to give that a good shake once again, and just to kind of get it all combined. I want all of the onion, the steak, everything to get well seasoned. And then that is it for this. This is super easy. I can just toss this in my crock pot, or I can put it on the grill. I can put it on my cast iron skillet. This is going to be such an easy meal. Next, I'm going to be making some meatballs. So I am going to use 3 pounds of ground beef. I buy all this beef from a local butcher. So that's what you are seeing here. We usually buy about a quarter of a cow, maybe once a year. I mean, it comes out to be maybe every 10 months, something like that. That we buy a quarter of a cow, because it lasts us so long, because it's like 200 pounds worth. So we thoroughly enjoy doing that. The beef is just so, so good. It's so much different than what you get in the stores. So if you guys do not buy from a local butcher, I highly consider, or a local farm, I highly consider you doing that. So I have the 3 pounds of ground beef, and then I'm going to add in 2 eggs, and then 1 cup of diced onion there. I have 2 cups of quick oats, and then a can of evaporated milk. Do not get thrown off with this evaporated milk. Just trust the process. It is so, so good. You're not going to be upset. It's going to be the best meatballs you probably ever had. And then I'm going to put in half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, and half a teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of chili powder. And that's that mixture that you saw there. And I'm just going to stir this like crazy. I'm going to give this a good stir. And then I'm just going to use like a cookie scoop to get it all onto this pan. And then I'm going to freeze this so that they don't stick together. And because if I put them in the casserole dish right now, they're going to end up sticking together, and they're going to be hard to get apart. So I'm just going to go ahead and freeze these first, just like that are in this pan right here. I'm just going to toss this in the freezer. I'll probably put it in the freezer for about 3 to 4 hours. And then when it comes out, I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like after they are frozen, and I'm just going to start putting them in my casserole dish. Now, I originally thought that I was going to be able to stack these, which is kind of the main purpose for putting them in the freezer like this, but the casserole dish is just not deep enough, so I cannot do that. If you want to put these in freezer bags, that would be great. Just do make sure that you freeze them first so they do not stick together. And so I made about 2 different casserole dishes, I guess is what you can call them. I made 2 different pans here. So this could definitely be 2 different meals. I'm going to take them out and I'm going to cook them at 350 for about 45 minutes. And then if you're wanting to know what kind of sauce I use, I will link that down in my description box. But you'll put the sauce on and then you'll cook it for an additional 15 minutes. This is a family recipe that my husband's grandma has used for years and years. They are the best meatballs I've ever tried in my life. I kid you not. I never would have thought about putting evaporated milk in these meatballs, but they are so, so delicious. You guys definitely have to try these meatballs. I've made other recipes before, and they just do not stand a chance against these meatballs. Next, I'm going to be making some chicken taquitos. This recipe is like the simplest recipe I think I've ever made. It is just 2 chicken breasts, 2 large chicken breasts, 1 can of Rotels, 1 package of cream cheese, and then 1 ounce of taco seasoning. And that's it. You can even add in some different stuff if you like some like corn or black beans in your taquitos, maybe some green chilies, but I just kind of kept it simple. I just did these ingredients. Now, I did have some black beans in my fridge that I wanted to go ahead and use up. So after this was done, I went ahead and just shredded up my chicken. And then I did add in some black beans, and I did add in some more cheddar cheese just to kind of give it a little bit more cheesy flavor. And I love black beans. It's just, I don't know. I just love black beans in with my Mexican dishes so much. And so once that's good and ready, I'm going to give that another good stir with the black beans and with the cheese. And then I'm going to plate this up with my, I use like these flour tortillas. I use the like fajita size ones, the ones that are like the smallest. And I am just going to put a little bit on each little tortilla there. And I'm going to put it on, I have like a huge baking pan or cookie sheet that I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to place this in the oven. I put it in the oven at 400 degrees for, I want to say about 10 to 13 minutes. I don't want it to get super brown on top because I'm just going to basically cook these and put them in the freezer, but once I take them out of the freezer, I'm going to cook them again. So they're going to get kind of extra crispy. So you definitely don't want to overcook these. You just kind of want it to form so that the tortillas stay together, and it gets like just barely brown. I'm going to use this Pam spray to spray everything just so it gets that crispy texture to it. And I'm going to place this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 13 minutes, like I said earlier. And then I will show you what they look like. Here's kind of what they look like, just barely brown on the edges there. And then I'm going to get out my casserole pan and I'm just going to place them in here. If you want to place them in freezer baggies, I think that would be fine too. I've done that before and they turn out great just like that. This made about 2 different containers worth, and I'm just going to label what they are. I try to like fit as many as I can in this last casserole dish because I don't want to put it in another in another casserole dish or another baggie, anything like that. And I'm just going to put the lid on. I'm going to label it and tell how long to cook it and stuff like that. And that's it for these. These were probably the easiest meal ever. And I made so many batches of it. It's going to go a long way. we go to church on Sundays, and this would be so simple just to take out and to toss in like the air fryer or the toaster oven, anything like that. It'll be ready in 15 minutes, so I'm really excited about these. Okay, now we're going to be making some chicken fajitas. So it's going to be just like the beef fajitas. I'm just going to chop this up, get all the fat off first, and then just kind of slice them into little tenderloins. And I'm just going to put them in the baggie. It's going to be just like last time where I put in all of like my onions, my bell peppers, my taco seasoning, anything like that. If you have any other type of seasonings that you want to use, if you have like the fajita seasonings that you want to use, I just don't have anything on hand that's anything like that. But if you want to use whatever you have in your pantry, that's great too. I just had the taco seasoning, so that's what I use. I think I ended up using like the very, very last bit of that taco seasoning. I do season these fajitas, this chicken, with some salt and pepper just to give it a little bit more flavor. Sometimes that taco seasoning isn't salty enough, and so you're going to need some extra salt. And I'm just going to put in all of the stuff, the onions, the peppers, the taco seasoning, all of that in here, and give it a really good stir so it gets all mixed through. I also have this bag of like sweet bell peppers and onions and stuff like that. It's really great for fajitas, but I just had like a tiny bit, so I wanted to add it to this as well. It's like maybe like half a cup, I don't know. Not very much, but I wanted to get rid of it out of my freezer, so that's what I was doing there. I think you should, before doing any of these meals, definitely going through your freezer to make sure you can use up anything that you have. Make sure you have space to be able to do all of these meals, and that they're all going to fit after you're done. There's nothing worse than like doing all these meals and realizing, oh, you don't have any room for all these freezer meals, so now what? But anyways, then we're going to get started on, this is probably one of my favorite meals of all time. I absolutely love chicken teriyaki. Chicken teriyaki, rice and green beans, that's where it's at for me. It hits home. If any of y'all love chicken teriyaki, please leave me a comment in the comment section. I would just love to know who is there with me. So I have all these chicken thighs. I just use this whole package of chicken thighs because they have the bone in. So I don't know. That's just the type that I bought. I just went ahead and took off all the skin of it. And I'm going to season it with some salt and pepper. And then I'm going to place it in this baggie. Now I did put like a little bit of teriyaki sauce in the very bottom, just so the very bottom is getting that sauce too. And then I'll add about half of them. And then I'll put in some more sauce, so that those are getting nice and marinated. And then after I put in the rest, I'm going to pour just a little bit on top and then seal it up and just get, kind of mix it around. I put like tons of sauce, so I want to make sure that it's completely immersed in sauce so it's getting marinated properly. Okay, and finally, we are on the last one. We're making chicken bacon ranch casserole. I am going to need about 5 slices of bacon here, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to cook up some bacon Once it's cooked up, I will go ahead and like cut it up. And then I'm going to use about 3 cups of rotini noodles that I will be cooking up, getting them al dente. And then I'm going to, in that same pan that we used our bacon, I'm going to get rid of some of the bacon grease, but not all of it. So I'm going to leave just, I don't know, like 3 tablespoons of bacon grease in it. I'm getting rid of that bacon grease in this little cup that I have designated for bacon grease. I would love one of those like little containers that are specifically designed for bacon grease. That would be awesome. And I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of this minced garlic here with my bacon grease. Oh, that smell is absolutely amazing. And then I'm going to put in my flour and kind of get that stirred through. If you're wanting like the full recipe, it's going to be in the description box as well. I'm going to give this a really good stir, and then I'm going to add in my ranch. This is like, I think 3/4 of a cup, but anyways, so we have about 3/4 cup of ranch, and I'm just kind of get that stirred through. And then I'm going to add in my milk once that's getting kind of cooked down. I add in my milk just like a little bit at a time, just a little bit, and then I stir it a little bit and then add a little bit more. And just kind of get that cooked through. At this point, you're going to want to change to a whisk to get that flour and everything mixed through, the ranch and all the milk as well. Once you can see that it has thickened up, I'm going to go ahead and add my bacon back to the dish, and my noodles should be done cooking at this time that I have drained off all the excess water. So I'm going to add that to this pan as well, and then I have a can of green chilies that I'm going to add. This is the bigger can, the 8-ounce that I'm going to add to it. You can use a 4-ounce too. That's just all that I had on hand. And then I'm going to add in about a cup of cheese. You can use the cheddar. You can use whichever kind of cheese that you want. I do prefer using like the Fiesta blend. And I was so sad, but I did not have any more chicken left that I had thawed. So I'm just going to use this canned chicken, which kind of makes me cringe because I don't really prefer using canned chicken. I love rotisserie chicken. I love cooking, just regular chicken, but canned chicken is not my favorite. But after I did try a bite before putting in the casserole dish, and it was actually pretty good. So I wasn't like terribly disappointed. It was okay, but definitely if you have regular chicken that you have already cooked up, or if you want to use rotisserie chicken, man, rotisserie chicken and this would be bomb. I'm telling you, that would be absolutely delicious. And then I'm just seasoning this with salt and pepper just to give it a little bit more flavor. And that is it for this. We're just going to go ahead and place it in one of our casserole dishes, our trays that we have here. And then we're gonna, of course, put more cheese on top because we love cheese at this house. I probably put maybe another half a cup to a cup of cheese on top. And I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and level, and that's it. You're going to place this in the oven at 350 for about 30 to 45 minutes. If you're putting it in there straight from frozen, it's going to be 3 to 4 hours, probably about 3 hours. And that's it. That is all that I have for you guys. That's all that I made in this video. It was like a super long video, but we made 10 different meals. It was a lot of work, but it was so worth it. I think anytime I make dinner, it's like a good 30 minutes. So, that's like 5 hours if we're making 10 meals. So we saved a couple hours, saved a couple steps, and we're using up what we have in our freezer, using up what we have in our pantry to make up all these meals for the next 2 weeks. And then in a minute, I'm going to show you all of what it looks like. This is me showing you all the meals that we made. We made tons of meals, feeding our family. And if you want to give any of these away for people that are getting ready to have a baby, or maybe are just going through a hard time or cannot go to the grocery store, I have a lady across the street from me, actually my neighbor, and she pretty much lives by herself, and she just could always use some extra help. Don't mind my son in the background. He's being potty trained and finally doing well, so happy about that. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video. Thanks for staying to the end. And if you have not subscribed already, please do subscribe. I will have so many more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one.